If I can't find one, I'm gonna make one.
That would be
I
great.
feel like,
No matter what I do, it'll look better than that.
I feel like you know what I meant to do this past year was wait for our, you know, when our,
Oh wait, I just,
when
I
our,
don't know
big
who this
sale.
when our
iPhone
yard
is.
sale came in. We always get things like that.
Because people always have little tales. Our house has too many of them.
What's going on, Emery?
Yeah. Pretty much.
How's the baby?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Feels like I never see him, but.
Whoever is joining us via Zoom on
Is it
the
different
iPhone,
having
can you
one,
please either state your name or I'll
like this
ask you to
behavior from
remove
from
your
a baby
name.
A
different?
little bit different.
Yeah.
Some things are,
Okay.
I don't think anything's harder, but there's a couple things that were a lot more smooth.
Oh, nice.
I don't want to get Zoom bombed.
Did you get Zoom home?
Yes.
No, we were
awful.
Oh, you missed that.
every hour.
That was exciting.
That was a lively meeting.
Oh,
That was brutal.
Yeah.
What
Because he just couldn't eat enough because he's so
Yeah.
tiny.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Hey,
it's
the thumbnail that I
He
picked
was
for
eating
you.
like milliliters.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like this.
I'll describe it. I think I'm eating.
Okay.
I think the bed still like
Oh,
we're
no.
feeding the syringe even when he first
It was
came home.
pornographic and,
Yeah,
Interesting.
and loud.
so.
Yeah, it was.
Not as loud as Emily's scream.
I was freaking out.
Emily freaked out.
Were you here for that meeting?
Yes, it was.
The good Dana was here and he just put his folder up and covered the screen
Oh my.
until I just
Yeah.
ended the meeting.
Well, I mean, that's for you
It's
from,
amazing what people have time
Oh,
to do.
I didn't even realize it was.
5:01.
You got the gavel?
Oh, yeah.
it's
sorry,
you,
I
yeah, you gotta
forgot.
get back with us.
Okay, so you're sharing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It being 5 o'clock, I call the select board meeting to order. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? There are two. There's a couple additions to the signature file as well as the administrator's report with the health insurance updates. Is there any public input before we get started?
Selectman Bear is not in attendance.
Thank you.
Or Gisette.
Or,
I mean, no
or
Schaefer.
The
Oh, I'm
other
sorry.
guy with the beard.
The other guy with the beard.
Any other public input? Hearing none, moving into new business.
Can
Lo-
we actually hold off on new
Oh.
business until Mary gets
We
here
can-
and we'll do cemetery and treasurer?
We can do that. We will move into the 2026 budget review. We'll start off with the cemetery with Annie Berg
And John.
and John.
Both of us. Got the numbers there. So well, I don't know, do you guys have questions about our budget?
Do we want to kind of scan through it and
So. Is it gonna turn up in CIP? Are you gonna do the crypt this year?
Who knows?
Yeah, is it in the CIP?
I think it is still.
Cemetery is on page 4. CIP.
Any expenditure for the crypt will come from our trustee of trust funds account for cemetery maintenance and improvements. So it's a or it's a wash as far as any tax, has
Oh,
no
okay.
tax effect.
Right.
Yeah,
thought-
so it doesn't need a warrant article, but we do show it in our operating budget as an expense and a revenue.
No, but I just thought we had a special amount for it last year that didn't get expended because I can't remember what it was worse than you thought, or, but wasn't there a special line item amount last year?
There
was
was, and we
hefty?
ended up taking it out before the budget hearing because the cemetery trustees decided
Oh,
that
it
they
was,
weren't gonna
okay,
do it.
so I'm remembering the
Yeah,
before, but
60
not what actually went to the
Yeah,
voters.
we
Yeah,
talked about
60,000.
60,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why it's not here now, because you're not,
We're not
Ready.
planning on it.
okay. And because the wall is coming out?
The surface of it is parched or whatever, and moisture has broken it up some and creeped through. John Roberts has proposed the possibility of putting on a different face of basically fake stone, and which would be much cheaper, but we haven't gotten a price and
Yeah, okay,
we're not sure.
thank you for the update.
But largely what we're proposing, we're at the end of a 3-year contract for the maintenance that had a provision for going up if cost of living went up, or gas actually went up. And that was not used or invoked, but she has indicated that she has to raise her prices. We are in the process of updating our specs to put it out to bid for next year, or hopefully the next 3 years. So we have raised the amount for maintenance from the 30,880 to the 35,000 to cover that. And we are expecting that we will use up almost everything of the total budget for this year.
And,
I updated our actuals yesterday, so that column
Those
should be pretty accurate.
so the, hang on a sec. The flags, and this is like a piddling amount, I'm just really curious about it, not questioning the numbers. Flags and poles are for, do
Veterans.
those, yeah, but do those count the flags that end up at the memorial, or does that come from the patriotic purposes budget, which is in rec? Is the Veterans Memorial a different thing, not maintained by cemeteries?
We maintain the ground,
Okay.
and I don't know if we've ever been charged for,
I don't think we put a flag there, do we?
I think that they probably come from the patriotic purposes line.
Our flags go in the cemeteries for all the veterans.
Yeah, well, these are the same little ones, and
The
somebody
little ones.
puts them out at the, in the monument, there's little
oh, the
spaces.
small ones.
Yeah,
We have not been putting them out, but the Boy Scouts might have, I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I was actually gonna ask about, while we're on the Veterans Memorial, first of all, we're seeking new members, cause Mark Fournier's stepped down, he's just been too busy.
oh, too bad.
Which is too bad, so if you know of anybody. But the grounds, so that's part of our cemetery maintenance contract, so the same folks who
Yes.
maintain, go there. Cause is that something that we could just feel like we could do a better job at it? Is that something that we could talk to Rick about or take back into our
You mean make the grass better, cause it's
grass
that weird
better,
weed?
weeding it, planting, it just, yesterday or a couple days ago, there's been a bike that was left there for days, so
Down to the dump.
I got out and moved
You took it to the dump?
Took it to the dump.
Bob Streeter took it to the dump after the farmer's market.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Let's put that on for another conversation, because depending, we had the conversation, sorry to get off track on your cemetery budget.
It's
What's
fine.
the- Part of
But
it.
we did have the conversation, and I know that, or I'm assuming that the village traffic group has on their list of things to consider that four-way stop. So whatever happens with that, if that comes to be, and if
It could change the
it
configuration.
could change the configuration. So we should wait till Carl's here. And if he says, no, that's not on their burner, then we can pick that conversation up. Because a weed is taken over, there's no grass there anymore, it's just that
I think it's crabgrass.
flat, is
Crabgrass.
flat, yeah.
I'm an expert in crabgrass.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
One thing you might consider for your maintenance contract that I've seen used before when we do it with our waste hauling is, could be for a 3-year period, and then you could have, can be renewed for an extra year or 2 if both parties agree on the price of the last year or something. Something to think about that might make for less paperwork on your part.
That's a good idea.
Well, we have beautiful graveyards, thank you.
Thank you.
As far as maintenance of the Veterans Memorial, I'm certainly happy to have anybody or the town maintain it.
Okay.
I am definitely off the board as of next March.
Hmm.
And we have somebody that we think might come on in my place. But
How long have you been?
That's a change.
Forever and a day?
not quite. I moved over here permanently in 2006. And shortly after that, I was
Yeah.
trustee of trust funds and cemeteries. I discovered that there wasn't any thing saying that they should be the same, and we separated them out, but I was both for quite a while, but have been on cemetery ever since.
Well, thank you.
And
Bob.
I'll be 87 then, and it's about time to.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, I think you're doing great.
The terms aren't that long. You can keep going.
Keep going till you're 90.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Any other questions on the cemetery budget? Hearing no other questions, I'm going to move on to the
Treasury budget.
treasury budget.
Page 2. What's the mileage for? Just like all the deposits every time you have to go?
Yes, 4
Yeah.
times a week I drive to West Ospey.
Oh wow, 4 times a week?
Yeah, I have to go every day.
Yep.
So there's an RSA that says if we have more than $1,500 to deposit, it has to go to the bank that day.
Yeah,
And so it's rare that there's less than that
yeah.
in a day. And if there is, sometimes I say, oh, I'm not going to the bank today. But that's the rule.
Safety first.
We've talked a little bit about maybe getting one of those check scanners.
So you could like electronically deposit.
So you can electronically deposit instead of me driving to the bank.
Why would
No,
we not do that?
Isn't there still do people still pay with cash?
Well, that's right. So every day there's usually at least a few $100s of cash, sometimes a few $1,000s of cash. Also every single day along with the checks. So there would have to be like, I'd have to go to the bank at least once a week with that cash.
Regardless, yeah.
Regardless. Maybe even twice a week, depending on how much we took in. I don't know if there would be some sort of rule about if we save the cash up to a certain amount and then drive it to the bank, or...
Does the RSA say that it's once it hits 1,500? I mean,
Yes.
could you save it all week and as long as you didn't hit 1,500? Or do we have an internal policy about cash?
No, I don't know how, if the cash can be separated out. Because, if you're saving it up all week, but you still have like 6,000 in checks that day, does that mean you have to take all of it cash also? I don't know if you can save the cash up or not.
I would say if it makes your job, if it facilitates your job to have a check scanner, we should look into a
think
check
it
scanner.
would.
I mean, you're doing everything manually right now?
Couldn't we so that must be a
Well,
state
I mean, I'm
RSA.
adding it up
Yeah.
on an adding machine.
Yeah.
I mean, Kim or
Hillary?
Hillary, drawing a blank. Kim or Hillary adds it up on the adding machine, and then I do it too, and we make sure our numbers match, and then I take it to the bank.
How much is the check scanner? Why wouldn't we get one? It costs a lot of money.
I think they're like $800 or something in that neighborhood.
If it cuts your trips to
But
the
it-
bank in half,
But
it
I
sounds
spend
like
about
a big deal.
what $1,200 or $1,300
Driving.
a year driving to the bank.
And
So
that would
we'd
be a
make our money
one-time
back.
purchase, yeah.
But I'd still have to go to the bank at least once a week. So
Yeah.
maybe it would half or 3/4 that, I'd still have to spend a few $100s on gas. It wouldn't
Well, it would
completely
save
go
your
away.
time too.
And
What
it
a
would
pain in
save
the neck,
time,
right? Yeah.
I would think. I mean, I'd have to feed all the checks through.
Mhm.
But I would
Those
think
are
it would be
faster.
quick.
Sure.
It'd be less than driving to the bank, which is about a half an hour.
Well, if you want to put that in your budget, you should.
It seems like a 21st century investment.
It does, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Maybe 20th century.
Maybe 20th century, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked to anybody else about it,
Yeah, let's
Kim,
look
or,
into
but
it.
I don't know, it wouldn't really affect her in any way.
Mhm. Yeah, let's look into it.
Let's look into it.
Yeah, I mean, this can be tweaked. I mean, everything else is really straightforward.
Yeah.
Who's the deputy treasurer?
Amy Barrier.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I should know these things. The A and B team.
Yeah, so I just asked for slightly bit more money for my stipend. It comes out to about $40 a month raise.
Okay. Because we don't do COLA on the stipends?
We do, but this would be instead of the,
Instead of that, COLA, okay.
yeah, I think it was at 6.9% increase.
Mhm.
Trustees have never gotten a raise.
I know.
No,
Select
you
board
asked for
You ever
either.
asked for one?
Select board either.
and I didn't get a raise last year. It didn't go up at all.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the treasurer budget?
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna, should I bounce back to library?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce back to the library vent repair. Mary Cronin.
Thank you. The library vent, we discovered when people were up on the roof installing the solar panels, is separated from the stack is bent off. They've been pushed by the snow.
So
At
it's
some
a
point.
bathroom vent.
It's the plumbing vent, yeah, it's just the sewer vent, actually, yeah. So it needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed inside and out. And Rick has done a temporary repair on it, which involves a whole lot of caulking. So, and he's been checking it every time it rains
Yeah.
to make sure nothing's coming in, but it does need to be fixed. And we got a sort of a ballpark estimate, was the best I could get, because until they get up there and see, they said they would need to, kind of make it work on the inside and the out, so they weren't sure. They said around 4,000. So I wanted to know if there were funds in the, either the building fund or the contingency, somehow the town building repair funds to do that, so we could get it done before winter. Library doesn't have 4,000 right now, because we've got, all of our building funds are gonna go toward finishing the lift, which has, been ordered. So we have to, we have some carpentry and electric to do and alongside that, so we will take care of that. But this vent thing needs to be taken care of, so hoping that there might be a way to do that, and whether we could just call and schedule the job and have it paid out of some building repair fund.
Is it getting fixed by a roofer or a plumber?
It would be, it needs a plumber, yeah,
Plumber.
but they need to bring in a lift. It's on the back of the building, it's really, it's complicated.
Because it seems like a lot, but I guess if you need a lift and all.
You need a lift, yeah, it's not
Remind me,
like,
is it a metal roof back there?
yep, yeah, the whole building's got metal roof, yep.
4,000 sounds like a lot, but I
Did you
guess.
Yeah.
did you reach out to just a single person or a couple different?
I reached out to Cobalt, who's done work for the town before, and Rick was really comfortable with them, with the work they've done before. So that's who I asked, because they have plumbers and
I imagine that they're just subbing the plumbing out to a different company though.
perhaps, I don't know,
That'd be my assumption.
no.
I feel as though if we're gonna spend $4,000 on fixing a roof vent, that we should get a couple prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple
You need-
opinions. That's my feeling.
I agree with that, and the other thing I would say too is, one thing that we've been pretty consistently saying to department heads this year is, rather than having, and we haven't done your budget yet, so I don't have your year-to-dates for the library in front of me, but we've been also encouraging departments to, just because your maintenance line might be maxed, it's a bottom line budget, so spend the money, and if we have to reimburse it at the end of the year from the contingency fund, we can do that, rather than taking it out of the contingency fund now and having the library turn back tens of thousands of dollars to the end of the year, which gets dumped into the unassigned fund balance.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
So I'm saying that you won't, we wouldn't be inclined to tap into the contingency fund yet.
Yeah.
If we see that you're gonna go over your bottom line, then we could reimburse for it, something
Later
along
on.
that line.
Yeah.
So that it's really a contingency, you know, if all else fails,
Yeah.
yes, that money's there to cover you.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get in the habit of not putting such great sums, John, agree with me on this, right? But into the unassigned fund balance every year, if we can avoid it, and then having to reboot contingency funds,
because
yeah.
that's where those funds would end up anyway, okay.
Yeah.
I will see about that, I will try and get some estimates, not super easy.
Yeah,
It's November, I'll see what I can do. Do you know a plumber who has a lift?
Well, the thing is, you need to build a cricket above the vent.
Yes, yeah,
So
So
it
it's,
doesn't
you need a
happen
roofer
again.
as well as a plumber.
Yeah.
And that probably means a carpenter too, since they.
and that's why having a general contractor
Yeah.
would be better, because they can pull all those subs in.
Yeah.
But-
Maybe Rick can give you some ideas, and if you and I should chat tomorrow, I can give you some names.
Yeah, and Rick did say, you know, we need someone other than me to do this. I've done what I can, and it's a little more than I can do.
Ted Gadbois is a roofer in Sandwich, who actually, when redoing the Bear Camp Center's roof, pulled our vent off and reconstructed it and rebuilt it and re-roofed around it.
Yeah.
So-
Metal roof?
Hmm?
Metal roof?
He does metal roof and shingle roofing.
All right, well, we'll talk.
Yeah.
And I just was hoping to get it done, but that, what you said makes sense. So-
Yeah.
If you could send me an email tomorrow, I will send you some contact info for other contractors.
And ultimately, Mary, because this
Good
is
night, John.
coming out of your budget, right? She doesn't need select board approval in order, if she shops around and schedules, it's under 5,000 coming out of her budget.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
we'll,
so
There's
just-
just nothing to
Yeah.
wait on.
yeah,
Right.
but it'd just be good to get as many names as possible, because we hardly ever have them plumbing
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
need, so.
Right.
And then you're back next week to go over your budget. Okay, good.
Yes. Yeah,
We'll get an update.
Yeah.
okay, okay, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, Mary, thanks. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
It's you, buddy.
I know, my bad. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, budget with Jeremy Phillips. What page are we looking at?
7 and 8. I do appreciate the font size on this year's budget.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you right now.
That's a good old guy font here. Like that.
What are dues for and subscriptions?
Dues and subscriptions, state rec organization as well as the county rec organization. And that one has increased quite a bit because I'm looking to, or I'm hoping to get, it's called Rec Desk.
Called what?
Rec Desk,
Uh-huh.
which is like an online sign up for programming.
Oh, cool.
You know, Ossipee, Wolfboro, there's several organizations in the county that utilize it, or something similar. Conway uses MyRec, which is just very similar. But
Yeah. So is that amount for Rec Desk annual subscription amount?
it is, yep.
Yep.
And that'll I think it'll make it a lot easier for people to sign up, because you create an account, you say, this is my contact information, my significant other's contact information, my 2-3 kids, and then every time you want to sign them up for a program, you say, yep, I give permission, this kid's doing this program, and you don't have to refill out the information every single time.
Great.
Right now I use Google Forms, and it's just, they have to fill it out every single time.
Yeah.
they always forget if they filled it out or not, so in this, they can know if they've done it.
And it holds their data.
It holds their date, yeah, I can get a lot of data out of it, instead of having to fill out my own Excel spreadsheet every
Yeah,
time
yeah.
I do numbers and stuff like that.
Can you print reports from that?
Yeah,
Or like rosters or whatever?
yep, exactly.
And they can pay, right?
And they can pay online, you don't have to do it that way, but you can do it that way.
That's gonna save so much of your time.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, people will still pay me, and that's totally fine. But yeah, when I'm trying to run around and be with children and also take money, it makes it.
Yeah.
It'll reduce that anyway. Yeah. I think the other thing you guys will have questions about, if you just want me to jump in,
Yeah.
you know, is the wages. You know, Emily, I'm just noticing that 24 was very similar, right? We're not spending all of the wages line. And for me, that was, you know, I had 3 staff. I had six great staff, but like 3 at a time. Where I wanted, you know, 6 at a time, especially for camp and that kind of thing. So that's gonna be my challenge this year, is being able to fill those hours. And that's a big part of why that money isn't getting spent. But ideally, you have the staff that I'm putting into the budget because of, you know, just having the correct numbers per
Right.
person, per student, or per kid, or adults per. Yeah.
Do any of the comparable local recs, Sandwich, Ospey, Moltenboro, anybody we interact with, Madison, Freedom, do any of them, is everybody still working with volunteer coaching and getting enough coaching?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. So it's still kind of working.
It's still kind of working. Yeah. It makes me nervous because like we have these really dedicated set of parents, and when they go, I'm hoping someone else comes in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and yeah, I coach as well,
Yeah.
which is totally fine. But
Yeah. I just feel like being a parent of a kid who is super athletic and who is always involved in rec sports, and I think, you know, since Henry, who's 21 now, since he was in T-ball and whatever else, the numbers, I think just the numbers of kids have really gone down, and the numbers of participants have gone down. But even that, it was hard getting coaching, and it's tricky if you don't have solid sports. For those kids, like my kid, who, if he didn't have sports, it would have been not a good thing for him. I think it's tricky if you want to prepare kids to be ready for a JV or varsity competition level. We have to be investing in it now.
I agree.
And I don't know if we want to consider if there's any even token stipends as an enticement. But I know that for a couple of years now, it's been really tricky getting, like you guys, Jeremy, I've seen you do it this year. I know Emily did it. I know Shannon did it. Like you've manipulated the offerings to fit the volunteers that you had. Sometimes instead of doing like a full-blown sports team, here's the team, you're going to compete as a team, you've broken it down into just skill stuff because that's what you could get people to tackle for you. I just would wholeheartedly, I know that rec is way more than just prep for team sports too, I'm cognizant of that, but I would love it if we, you know, for the kids who want it, they could have a foundation somehow that was meaningful and not leaving them behind. I think it's a little tough coming from Tamworth's one of the only kind of schools that goes up to 8th grade, where the rest of the feeder schools to Kennett go up to 6th grade, and then everybody goes to middle school together, so they get that cohesion. So they can use middle school to make up if they don't have a strong rec program. I don't know if we have that at Brett right now. So that's just my soapbox about, I would advocate or support you spending some of that staff money on stipending for coaching
Okay.
if you needed it, if that helped you to get people to, like move the programs in the way you wanted them to be.
Yeah, I will say, I think it's pretty common practice if you don't have a coach to shift that around.
Yeah,
I've heard of
yeah.
other organizations doing that as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's just a Tamworth thing, but yeah, it might be enticing
Yeah.
for someone to.
And I'm not saying it, I'm
wanna
not
coach
saying
it.
that to throw shade on you at all,
No,
or
no,
say
no.
it's just a Tamworth thing. I just think that there are some disadvantages that Tamworth kids face because of our school structure.
Mhm.
Which is also not saying anything about the school structure, it just is what it is and has been for a long time. And then going to Conway, you start off kind of 2 years behind the social group, the athletic group, the whatever group, and I just like to see the kids have whatever leg up they can. And
Yeah.
this is just one little leg of all the legs up that they should have. Yeah. And you do the best you can with what you got, yeah.
I know we've talked about how it's difficult. Sometimes you feel limited on what you can offer without the staff, but then it's always this balance
Yeah.
of like, what can I create with the staff I have, and then also I need the staff to create more.
Absolutely, yeah.
But so I totally hear you on that part-time wages being. I wish you could encumber that, but you can't.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart to the employees that you do have showing up for coaching, and then whether it's the Friday field trip staff or the TSEP staff, just really, I'm in support of offering them as many hours at a decent rate that you can, because those are the people that'll come back. It's really hard to pay somebody $15 an hour and ask them to give up, a half a day of summer. So.
Yeah, so when you break down what I do have there, it's one, I don't have a name for it yet, but what I would call a coordinator, which is doing driving for the swim programs, being at the White Lake swim program, trips, adult trips, 4th of July help, and camp, TSEP. And then 5 staff just doing like TSEP and adult trips and Friday trips as well. So like one coordinator that'll probably get more hours over the course of the summer, and I hope that allows someone to take on a job and be steady over the course of that whole time period as well. Because everybody that I've gotten, their parents, they do it because they have the time. They're not the next rec staff, you know what I mean? They're just parents that have time, and they're great. They're really good at it. But
Well, we're talking about summer, because I know I, as a parent, filled out the survey that you sent out. Do you want to speak to kind of that at all?
yeah, sure. So I looked hard this year at a summer camp idea for next year, expanding the summer camp, and I looked at an 8-week camp. And just trying to get people's thoughts on it. So I had some resources over doing the rec program over the last year. I've gotten emails and stuff like that. So I emailed about 95 people. I think I got some returns on that. So it was like 85 emails went out. I got 31 responses, which I thought was really good. And I'll just go quickly. I won't go through every single thing, but the biggest questions or the biggest answers that I got, I think, was how many weeks would you sign up for if you could do a Tamworth Rec Camp? And it was 22% said that they would do 7 and 8 weeks, and then 42 said 5 to 8 weeks. So I did it on 2-week splits, so 5 to 6 and 7 to 8. So 42% said that that's what they would sign up for. So most people, 58%, said, 4 or less weeks is what they would sign up for. And, 9.7% said 0 weeks. So to me, that would make it pretty tough to run an 8-week program with the people that we have, and what they want to do at this point. I don't know if you guys have different thoughts. I know that was just one of the questions. Some of the reasons, I got some other really great feedback. Kind of the open-ended question at the end. Those are always really great ones to take things out. I did get probably, I think I got one person that was like, it would be really great, 7:30 to 5, which is not what I projected. That's a tough to get people to work that, right? And would increase what I projected the budget for this to be. Would be great for working parents, So I think that would be the huge benefit of an 8-week thing. It'd be an inexpensive way to have childcare for parents. But a lot of people were saying, because in the email that I sent out, I mentioned that I would combine the swim program into this camp. And they said, no, that they like the separate camp, because, and you'll see later, there's 12, well, I'll say it now, there's 12 other camps that people participated throughout around town. Actually, I don't know where they all are, but a lot of them are around town. So 12 other camps that people utilize, that probably gives them those big week-long sessions, and then they really like kind of that a la carte where I'm gonna do swim program 3 days a week. I'm gonna do 2 Friday field trips. I'm gonna do whatever other programming that we're offering. So a lot of people, swim to continue as a separate program, filling holes where there aren't other options. So because of those other camps there, this person is thinking, can you fill the holes where there are holes? Swim lessons to remain separate. Swim lessons separate again. It would be not great to compete with other camps in the area. Yeah.
Sounds like the 32 that number seems familiar even with when I was doing rec. Like that's kind of the group of families that tend to sign up for these things. And if they're telling you, it sounds like what you're doing is working. You're getting people signing up for, the programs that you've already established. And so your budget kind of looks like it stays in line with the overall increase.
And just to clarify, the survey went out to people who have been in your programs before.
Over the past year, yeah.
Okay.
Since I've been here, yeah.
89 people, 89.
About 85.
Okay.
About 85.
Are we looking at all 3 categories under rec at the same time?
Yes.
So swim, does that change in salary reflect offering more lessons?
No, that reflects an increase in pay.
Okay.
So, and based on the staff that I had last year, I hope that they return, and I'm trying not to count on it at the same time. So that's one staff at $35 an hour and one at $30 an hour, and I hope that that's what I can get it for.
And those are your lifeguard certified
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 35 is the one that would be certified.
Is the busing, I remember we talked through the whole thing last year when you were leasing the buses. I just see 2 big bus numbers, one in swim, one in, is that because the total amount is 25,000 or whatever for the summer? And so you're splitting it between the uses?
Yeah, 2024 is what it was last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's split between the uses.
Gotcha.
And you could probably adjust that a little bit. but-
Yeah, I'm just trying to, it's the same buses, it's the same total nut, you're just showing it where you get used, that's fine.
Yep.
Family day. Have we reserved our 4th of July fireworks
So there,
yet?
I've been in weekly contact with them. Probably not to their liking,
Yep.
but I've been bugging them every week, and they just keep holding me off. Which is fine. It's increased because I'm sensing next year's the 250th. I'm sensing that it's going to be more. And the 2,000 more is a placeholder for now. I don't know how much more that's going to be for fireworks.
Okay,
And I, you know, we do get, this year it was $6,500 from, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah,
Chris,
Chris.
thank you.
Chris,
Yeah,
yeah,
very generous, you know, and I think in the past he's given 5,000,
yeah.
but he's like, nope, I want to contribute half. If it goes up, I don't know if he'd want to contribute half or whatever, you know, it's up to him, but he's been very generous. I mean, he's been very generous.
yeah, for sure.
He
Okay,
pays for the band, he gives a tip to the fireworks guys, he does a,
And the 4th being on a Saturday, who knows, there may be more demand on the fireworks folks.
yeah, I'm fine with either Friday or Sunday,
yeah,
but I told it that, so
yeah.
hoping I get an answer soon.
Do we know what what month and day our actual anniversary is?
no.
Founding,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, thanks, Jeremy.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, me again. Any other questions regarding the Parks and Recreation budget? Hearing no other questions, moving on to the Police Department budget. Dana Littlefield. Chief.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Windows out in the hallway.
Good evening. You got a gift?
I think so. I haven't opened it yet, I'm not sure.
Can of worms.
Congrats.
It's a little bale of hay, a baby bale of hay. That's what it is. Be prickly for a baby.
Well, if you'd like, I can just give you an overview. One thing that I want, because this obviously represents a pretty big increase, but I would like to start out by saying is we've severely under budget every year for the last few years, 4 years at least, because I'm more realistic than I am optimistic about the ability to hire, and so we, like I said, I've under budgeted us quite a bit just to kind of keep things down. So, you know, the reality is that if we had full staffing, our budget would look much larger than what it is. So anyway, that being said, the big increase in the so just the full-time line represents my position, a patrol position, again funding it for 6 months, along with the associated benefits. And I also want to throw in that so the cost driver obviously for our budget is employee costs, salary and benefits. The operating costs run around like 40,000+ a year, so the rest of it is just, you know, employee salary and benefits. So, and with the benefits, you know, for police, it's just under 31% gross for retirement. So it's a pretty big chunk, a sizable chunk when we factor everything in, plus health insurance. So anyway, the full-time line represents my position, a patrol position at 6 months, and then the full-time position for the social worker. We don't currently have that position filled right now. I am somewhat optimistic that we will have it filled by the end of the year. There's been some good candidates out there, and I think, you know, again, I'm optimistic we can fill that. But in order to budget it, I kind of have to budget it at what I think we're max advertising for. So that sort of represents that number. The administrative assistant position, I did a wage adjustment on this. I guess I did bring to the board previously. Instead of the 3%, I did a wage adjustment to $30 an hour because there are many people entering into that same position at that rate with zero experience. And the person we have working in that position has 46 years of experience, and I think it just seems only fair to kind of bump them to that number. She's slowly creeped up in wage over the years and has been more than happy to do the work, but looking at what current levels are, you know, with people hiring for that position, they're making a minimum of that much money. Let's see.
Part-time is Sergeant Burley?
Yeah, so the sergeant's position's represented under the part-time salaries. She can only work a max of 1,352 hours. Her rate adjustment is just the 3% COLA. And then we also take out our parking enforcement wage for the summer and other per diem part-time help that we get, mostly in the
That's
summer.
all under the PT line?
Yep. Going down, the health insurance is sort of looking at like the max, you know, there's a family plan for the social worker position, a family plan at half rate for the other patrolman position in a single plan. The other, so then you got utilities with their increases. The big jump here, when you get all the way down to dues, this is a moving target. I don't really have a good number, and I don't even know if it's going to be this coming year or the following year, because I haven't been given any answers. But so we use a reporting software owned by a company called Central Square, and it's pretty much one of the primary reporting software that's used nationally, but much of the county, pretty much all of the county runs on it. And we tap into the Carroll County Sheriff's Office hub, and we work off the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. We have our own licensing agreement with this company. We pay an annual subscription fee, which includes all the tech support we need for that software. So this is everything we do, from pulling a call for service on the road, to doing our reports, to our e-citations, our e-complaints for the court, and our e-traffic report, crash reports. They are getting rid of the software platform that we have and rolling out a whole new platform.
The county is?
No, this company, Central
Oh,
Square.
okay.
Essentially, they're going to phase out this older program, and they're going to introduce their new program. And the original quote I had was a $15,000, so we pay around $3,000 for this annual fee. The original quote I got to upgrade to this new system was a $15,000 annual fee plus a $5,000 setup fee. We did a training on it with the county. Central Square came out and did the training. Great software, has a lot of great uses. One of the things I don't like is that the modules that cost so much in that are what the state forced us into, and that was the e-citation, the e-crash, and e-complaints. The state is like mandating that everybody be on board with that. I argued that the increase based on those modules that need to be there because the state is requiring it is somewhat of an unfunded mandate, which the software company representative didn't disagree with. He came over and talked to me in the training and said, really those numbers are kind of highballed at this point. He said the more he knows about who's getting on board with it and what the county is doing, the lower that number is going to go. So I've kind of put it somewhere in the middle of the road, more on the low side. But it's all varies based on whether or not the sheriff's office decides to move forward with it this year or move forward with it next year,
Okay.
2027. So if they wait till 2027, then we'll just go with our normal annual fee and bring that cost down. But if they're gonna do it next year, then we're gonna wanna budget for that appropriately.
But it's not like we have a choice, so. I
It
mean,
isn't-
it's a big nut, but
It isn't. So the other side of it is it's whatever. I mean, I'm not a super tech person. I think it opens us up to a lot of vulnerabilities, but we're also kind of tied to the way the world evolves. This whole new programming setup is all cloud-based. So as long as we have any sort of device that allows us to log in and authenticate who we are, we're good to go. We no longer store on a drive, you know, like right now everything works off of servers at the sheriff's office. So if those go down or crash, there's the potential to lose all that data. Whereas this cloud base has redundant servers that if one server goes down, there's a server that's already backed up with that running in the background. And there's a lot of great new features that are pretty crazy and wild, but anyway, change is good sometimes.
what's the equipment bump?
Yes, thank you. And the equipment increase, I got kind of a last minute notice from Lakes Region, our IT company, basically saying that our laptops are not up to spec, meaning they're Windows 10 and they won't take Windows 11, and leaving them the way they are opens us up to vulnerabilities and security breaches. So they recommend replacing those. So we really need to get into like a better system of, like maybe you guys were talking about this before,
We were
but like,
talking about this.
you know, replacing, you know, computers as, you know, on a 5-year plan or a
Yeah.
3-year plan, whatever we think is best. We've kind of gone on the low end of costs when it comes to computers. We generally spend, laptops run a little bit more, around $1,200, and then our desktops run around $800, which is
Yeah.
not a lot of money, but.
And didn't you say, Emily, that you were gonna talk to Lakes Region or whatever about coming up with that, like evaluating what the town has now,
Yep.
and then coming up, I mean, cause that really should be a CIP thing. Like roll the whole town's needs into
The
a
only-
line item.
Yeah, and the only problem with like going through Lakes Region is they only rep certain suppliers and they're gonna upcharge through that as well. So if they rep for Lenovo, then, you know, Lenovo's giving them a price break and then they're gonna upcharge to make some money in between. I've either bought off the shelf at Staples or I've gone through the government Dell program to get some stuff as well, but they're not always.
Well, even if we don't go through Lakes Region, Steve had offered a couple of meetings ago to like help make that assessment
Yeah.
of, it's not assessment, what's the word? Inventory
Yeah.
of all of the town's equipment and then break it into a CIP bite-size span for keeping everything in, I mean, cause I think Kim just had the same sort of problem, right, last year?
We updated a few, we budgeted
For a
for it
couple,
and
yeah.
updated a few of the computers last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's got what computers anywhere in the town.
So that increase there is 2 laptops, like roughly, you know, around $2,500 for both of them. You know, we run on the, again, trying to keep, you know, costs down. Typical agencies spend for tough books, like they buy the actual tough books brand
Yeah.
type computers, laptops, because some I can see where they justify it if the computer is married to the officer and they're taking it and they swap cruisers, then they're taking it in and out. Okay, maybe I can justify it, but they run about $4,000 at minimum. And then they buy all the components that go in it, like the keyboards and all that, and you're talking about another $4,000 just in hardware. You know, so like an $8,000 setup in front of them. We spend $1,200 for the laptop and $100 on the mount, and
Yeah.
we're good to go. And we get the same performance that we need. So, and if we had to trash a laptop, we're still ahead of the game with
Yeah.
tough books are. And then the only thing I was gonna mention is that CIP had us slated for replacing a cruiser this year, obviously for obvious reasons. One of the cruises is just not being, the oldest cruise is not being driven to put mileage on it because we're down in, the per diem uses it periodically. So I pushed it out another couple of years, I think.
So that's not on the CIP?
No.
Yeah, great. Okay. So, I think, this is a good time since you're here, I don't know when you come back in again for update, but
Sure.
people have been asking for a couple of weeks, and I've been holding off for obvious reasons, but, for a social worker update, and I think that what we can say is we've had lots of candidates, and of the lots of candidates, we've had, I think, 5 really strong candidates, and we've interviewed them, and there have been two candidates that have come to the place of having serious conversations about the job, and for different reasons that had nothing to do with the job. Both cases were personal reasons beyond those people's control. Both of those people stepped out of the running. So I think that it's important to know that this is like not a pie in the sky thing. There are really solid candidates out there. There are solid candidates interested in the job. We've been going through the process of interviewing first as a group, and which includes me, Julie Lenoy from TCNA, and Cheryl Power, who's a Tamworth resident who's been a social worker her whole life professionally, with Chief, and then Chief Littlefield's followed up individually. So I don't think it's a pie in the sky that position is going to come to fruition sooner than later.
No, and I'll expound on that a little bit more. I mean, we've had a bunch of interest, a bunch of, decent applicants. We, to the point where we, as a group, had tiered them out to really what we thought was like the top threshold of applicants, and then sort of a second tier, and then people that were farther down the chain. And like you said, we did give job offers to 2 people who sort of at the last minute, or did some long thinking to just weigh out, what was best for what was going on in their personal life at that moment, and sort of backed out at the last minute. Again, nothing to do with what I think we're offering, and nothing to do with the position in general. We certainly are being probably picky about it, because this program, we're not just replacing somebody, we're sort of putting a program in place, and we want to make sure that that person we put in there is the right person to move this program forward, and really give it wings. It generates a lot of talk amongst others and other agencies, and there's interest to the point where I was invited to be a part of basically a group, a committee that's looking into creating a mental health court system within the Oxford District Court. It's similar to a drug court. It just basically takes people that outside of the normal realm of court and identifies, that there's a mental health issue, and puts them on a pathway to get them the help that they need, rather than throwing them in jail or fining them, which really doesn't resolve the underlying issue. So the mental health court is established in, I think, at least 2 other courts around the state. And because of our, implementing this, they want to invite us into this fold and actually make us kind of a pilot town to bring cases forward for the mental health court. And having that social work piece is, it's fine. Having that social worker piece sort of just helps to create continuity and bridge the gaps, and keep people on task. And if we had a mental health court, that's just one other piece for that social worker to help focus on, because there's a team within the mental health court that somebody would have to check in with, but we would have that extra layer that we would be like, hey, they're our resident or our case, we're going to check in on them, we're going to make sure that they're moving forward in the right direction. So what we're really trying to do is just resolve the underlying issues, rather than just keep having to go back to the same call and never address the underlying cause, so. I think it's a great thing, and I would really love to see it filled before the end of the year, and continue to budget it moving forward, so.
Yeah, and I'll just say that I know some citizens have contacted me, and their take is, why are we spending money on a social worker when we need people out patrolling for speeders? And I think you make a point that mental health crises and addiction issues are so prevalent that even the courts are trying to create new mechanisms to address these underlying issues, because they're not really, they become law enforcement issues, but that's not the root of them. We've heard from our fire chief in his reports, and we've heard from our police chief through his reports, how so many of the calls that they have really have nothing to do with law enforcement violations, and they have more to do with people in crisis. So by hiring this person as a community liaison, they're trained in how to support these people, and then that lets our chief or our sergeant or a patrol person, if we hire somebody, go out and handle the speeders, because they're not tied up with repeat calls for issues that they get called to because there's no one else to call.
Right.
So this is a twofer. It helps the people in town who are struggling, and it also lets our public safety personnel deal with actual public safety issues. So I'm also hopeful that this is really going to help people in town. And when I say help people in town, also help the people in town who are looking for increased patrol visibility.
We do have a question on Zoom from Becky. What is going to happen with the police expendable trust fund if the budget now reflects the chief, half a year for patrol, and a social worker in the full-time personal line? That expendable trust fund would still sit there with the half a year's balance just accruing interest.
In case we get somebody on January 1st for a patrol
Yeah,
person.
so I believe this is what we did last year. We budgeted
Yeah,
half a year.
it's the same the year before, we're just carrying that half year in the expendable trust and half in the budget, so.
Yeah.
Does it make sense for us to do a whole year's salary in the expendable trust fund and nothing in the budget? I'm not sure what the
I've
pros
thought
and
about that. I mean, it would help us from needing to raise it every year.
I'm not
but
opposed to it, I mean, I think,
the intention is filling the position.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, I don't know how that looks or how that plays into it.
Huh.
Or what the language on the original setting it up was.
It would just require the warrant article to outline that half year's salary would be deposited into the expendable trust fund.
If not spent, yeah.
Yeah, with you folks as agents to expend, so if you fill
So then we
it.
transfer it if it,
Yeah.
It is simpler than putting half of your salary in the budget and then it goes to the unassigned fund balance
yeah.
every year.
No, I agree, that's
seems-
why it originally came up with this idea to do
Yeah.
that, because I don't wanna keep appropriating funds that we don't spend.
Well, why don't we switch that?
Yeah, so take
So
it out of
just-
the
and then
operating
it becomes
budget
a-
and we'll put it in the capital,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Question?
Thanks for coming in tonight.
Coming.
Open that day.
Not in public, it might be inappropriate or something.
I know what it is. Oh, and just a couple plugs while I'm here. Drug take back is Saturday, 10 to 2, and it's gonna be, usually we have people come to the lobby at the police station, but we're partnering with TCNA this year, so we're gonna hang out on the front steps here and have people kind of drive in and drop off.
Is that anything like your, I know you're not supposed to do this, but half bottle of like half used antibiotics, or
Yeah.
it's anything you don't wanna throw into the water
Yeah.
supply or the
Yeah,
trash,
100%.
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And then.
But you don't take some things, isn't there something you don't take?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really want to deal with sharps. They, for whatever reason, don't want liquids, and they don't want devices with batteries, like your vape devices
Yeah.
and stuff like that might have batteries in it. If you take the battery out, then that's fine, throw the device, but it's really meant for, and no recreational drugs.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and then just another note that the following Friday is Halloween, and we're once again closing Main Street. Actually, do we need to get permission from the board to close Main Street?
We did it, we talked about it, yeah, we talked about it last year.
I make a motion, we close Main Street for Halloween.
Is that on a Friday?
From what
this
time
year?
to what time?
It's a Friday,
Oh, cool.
5 to 8.
Second. Sorry, discussion. Is there any? No. Not used to this anymore. Roll call vote.
Say yes?
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. Main Street will be closed.
It's been a wonderful event. I
Yeah.
think this is going on 4 years now.
Yeah.
And it's a huge turnout. We were managed, I think, last couple of years to move the PTA's trunk or treat over to the parking lot, which has been a great success, and it's just great to see all the families out. So I think it's a wonderful event put on by Tamworth Outing Club.
Great.
Yeah, they'll be doing their annual Halloween, the pumpkin carving on the History Center lawn, I think the Sunday before. Which Amy was nervous about the 5-day stretch of those pumpkins.
They're gonna look a little funny.
They're gonna look a little sad on Halloween, but that makes
Make
it
them
more
scarier.
spooky, so.
Yeah.
I should just clarify for anyone who's listening and lives on Main Street, that's from the 5-way, both sections of the 5-way, all the way down to the Barnstormers. So Great Hill will still have access to come in from the other end off of Cleveland Hill and access Great Hill. We're gonna maybe try to put up some cones to try to guide people to stay towards like the sidewalk side if they're going down to the townhouse.
Yeah, because people still trick or treat all the way down to the distillery, townhouse, and church.
Yeah.
Distillers handing out trick or treats for the
They did
parents?
do it last
Yes.
year, right? They should.
The distillery has a sidewalk there, I mean, but getting
that's
people
true.
to stay towards that once they go beyond the cones is a little bit,
Yeah.
so. Anyway. But we'll have help there to help them. Alright,
Thank you for coming in tonight.
thank you guys,
See ya.
have a good night.
Moving on to old business with the transfer station improvements update. Richard, you said.
Carl, Bear, and I had a call with HEB and all the architects yesterday, day before? Yesterday? Yesterday. On the current design of the recycling building, the plan is for them to be done with the design and the bid documents next Monday, so that we can be ready for a vote to issue invitations to bid next Tuesday. That is my
Oh,
hope.
great.
The one thing we talked about was the electrical subcontractor was curious about when various pieces of equipment would be operating simultaneously, because if we build a building with 2 balers and then everything we own is operating at the same time, we might max out the power. So that will be 2 compactors, 2 balers, and that's pretty much it. And we said, well, first of all, the 2 compactors never run together, it's one or the other, and those use the most power. And even the balers are unlikely, but possibly to be operated while a compactor is running. But Carl and I talked to HEB about it, said, you know what, it's not that many things are going to be running at the same time. If it becomes a problem in the future, then you upgrade your service in the future.
Yeah. I mean, it
But
just
it should be
seems
fine for now.
the staffing to run everything at the
Yeah, you
same
wouldn't have
time, and
enough
we don't even have
people.
enough people.
You have
Yeah.
4 things and 3 guys, so you
Yeah.
can't run all 4
Yeah.
things. But that was the one interesting thing.
So that's on next week's agenda for us to
Yep.
look at the bids and
And
vote?
look at the design and issue the
Invitations.
Oh, the
invitations
invitations
bid.
bid, right?
Right. We do have out on the street invitations to bid on a skid steer or a mini loader, containers, and balers. We have bids in hand already. I think we have 2 container bids, 2 baler bids, and 1 loader bid so far. They're not due till November 13th, I think it is. But it was good that people are already submitting bids.
Yep.
They're not sealed, so I have glanced at them, and the prices are lower than I thought they'd be, so that was good. But they'll all be put together, and we'll probably have the opening here. I think they're due on 2 p.m. the 13th. And Emily and I and anybody else who shows up, we'll open the bids here. The design bids, if we put the design out and we get bids, that will be a week later. So then just before Thanksgiving, we'll have everything on the table and know what if we can afford all of this. Because it's you kind of decide all together if you do anything. I did today send out emails to 7 contractors who I thought might be interested in bidding on the recycling building. And these were the same entities we reached out to when the bathroom bid went out. So 3 of them bid on the bathroom, and there were a handful of others who we had let them know, but they ultimately did not bid on the bathroom. And within an hour, I had 3 responses from 3 entities who would like to get their invitation to bid on the recycling bill. So that was good, that people are interested. And I think that's it for the transfer station.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Moving on to administrator report.
The account balance is $2,661,739. And if I give you a printout, I also have it on the screen for people. If I go here. So we've talked about health insurance. I did get our 2026 rates in from the Health Trust. So there was a 9% increase on the health insurance, 4.4% increase on the dental. And if you've been, I let you guys know I've been a little bit nervous about the risk pools in New Hampshire. We saw that the interlocal trust dissolved. I don't know if you've read the paper, but
Oh my God.
Conway and Bartlett are now dealing with that. We also just saw School Care, which is another large risk pool, hand out, they I guess had a high claims year and had to go to their members for reimbursement, and our Tamworth School District was handed a $159,000 bill. So I've been really kind of wary of risk pools ever since kind of paying attention to the Senate bill that tried to pass and failed back in June. The idea of a risk pool is that it's self-insurance. You're all in this together, and you don't have insurance. You use your own funds, but that's not what Health Trust is. Health Trust is a group rate system where we pair with other towns and cities and we're supposed to get better rates, right? So I thought it was interesting that when I was shopping around and through the Baldwin Group, which is a private broker, was able to still get a Anthem Blue Cross plan at a better rate for just our town employees. Because we'd be looking at a high deductible, lower premium plan. So I know I went over this with you guys before, but this is now with the actual 2026 rates. So if we were looking at just the Health Trust premium, if we were going to stay with Health Trust with the 9% increase, this $294,744 is the premium that we pay to the insurance company. The town pays 90% of that, the employees pay 10%. So that paired with the $16,000, so the HRA FSA, that's the money that the benefit to the employees. So I have a $1,000 deductible, the town pays me up to $500 with the health reimbursement account. And then another $500 on an FSA, which is a flexible spending account debit card. So if I use both of those things, my deductible gets covered. It gets a little trickier when you get to 2-person plans or family plans, because we only match 500 up to 3 people. So if you have a family of 4 or 5, you end up and we only give the FSA card to the employee, not the dependents. So anyway, all that being said, this is the number that I'd have to budget if we were to stay with Health Trust. if we move over to the Baldwin Group, right off the bat, it's a lower premium to the insurance company. And instead of budgeting a separate amount for an HRA FSA, this is called a PFA plan, which stands for a participating funding arrangement, and it's considered a low-risk, partially self-funded solution. Which means built into this number, 51,533 is what they're estimating to apply to our deductibles. This is a high deductible plan. The thing is, if you look, they do their research, right? It's very unlikely that all of us are going to use our full deductible. We actually have few claims because we have younger employees. There is an annual admin fee, so if you look at everything that I would have to budget for, it's a much less expensive plan. So off the top, the town saves money there. On the employee benefit side of things, if we were to stay with the health trust, there's $1,000 per person deductible, $3,000 for a family. We have the $500 HRA, which, I personally as an employee here don't love it. I have to pay for my bill up front, and then I randomly will get a check from the health trust later to reimburse me. And the $500 FSA card, sometimes it's great for little things like co-pays, but other things, the health trust wants you to submit a receipt. There's this whole process where you have to submit a receipt. They either deny or approve it. Sometimes it's covered, sometimes it's not. If it's not covered and if you don't submit a receipt, they turn off your FSA card. It kind of creates more work on the back end for us in the office. Anyway, and here are the rates. This is per pay period, this is annual. When you're looking at what the Baldwin Group offered us, much higher deductible, right? But we've already established that the town can afford to cover that for their employees and have a significant savings.
So that number is represented by the 51,533 above.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
There's no HRA. There is still an FSA option for employees if they want. There's no obligation on the employer to contribute. So some people like having that deduction from their paycheck into a flexible spending account because they know they're going to have, like prescription costs that they want to be tax deductible. So there is an option for that, but they don't have to do it. And the rates are much more affordable. This plan is a 4-tier, so instead of a single, a 2-person, and a family, there's a single and a spouse, a single and a child, which we do have one of those here, employed with us, and then a family plan. So you can see per pay period and overall annually, everybody has a better rate except for the single and the spouse. Those rates go up. The reason is, Anthem sees that as if you're older and you and your spouse are more likely to have higher claims than the person with a child.
Question.
Yep.
Do you have to have 2 spouses and a kid to be a family? Why wouldn't a single and a spouse just join a family?
You can be a single parent with 2 kids.
But you're saying the family plan is cheaper than, you could have 3 people on a family plan, but a single and a spouse is more expensive.
But my wife and I could not get a family plan. We don't qualify.
No.
Okay.
You're a single and a spouse.
It seemed too obvious.
I know. Yeah.
But your rates go up, but you don't have any deductible. So even when you use it, you're saving money because you're not paying a deductible.
Exactly. So Kim said it would be okay. She couldn't be here tonight, but she said it would be okay to speak kind of on her behalf because she is the perfect example of this, right? She's a single and a spouse. She was okay with the increase on her end, given that she wouldn't have to deal with the deductible side of things anymore. Mm-hmm. There's no risks. And also with this plan, I didn't write this down, I should have, but there's no co-pays with this plan versus our current health trust. I mean, our current co-pays with health trust are affordable. It's $20, $40, and then a $100 emergency room visit. With the Baldwin Group, there's no copay except for an emergency room visit. It normally with this plan would be $350 for an emergency room visit, but the Baldwin Group is actually covering $200 of that, $250 of that, to keep it our $100 standard ER visit. So on both ends, I, as the employee and the employer, are happier with this plan. I also am just kind of apprehensive with the way risk pools are trending right now in our state. I'm a little nervous. I don't know what's going to happen with the health trust. I'd hate to. I've had calls from other town managers asking me what we're planning on doing. It kind of feels like if too many people jump ship when you're in a risk pool, it doesn't work, and I'd just be nervous about that. Mm-hmm. So this is my recommendation for 2026 would be to move forward with this PFA plan with the Baldwin Group. It would require kind of an education luncheon with our employees. I'd encourage their spouses to come to talk about just the plan difference. This deductible is loaded onto a prepaid debit card. So it can only be used for billing, for medical billing. But there's just going to be it's a change, and everything would feel a little bit different. The other thing that I'd like to chat about while we're on this, because as part of this plan package, they offered us, I know Kim said she's been asking for it for years. It hasn't happened in the past. I'm not sure why. But they offered to quote life insurance for our employees as an added benefit. It only costs the town. There's no employee contribution. It's completely employer paid for. But it's $20 a month. That's it. One payment of $20 a month to cover all 11 employees, 11 full-timers. And it's a $10,000 plan. And
Wait, $20
For the
per
whole town.
employee for the whole town?
for the whole town.
And that's $10,000 of life insurance.
Yep.
Or select
you
board
could-
members that were.
I know. Full-time employees.
Okay.
Or you could do $40 a month and it's a $20,000 payout.
Mhm.
But I feel like for these people, we only have 3 of these employees, but for the employees and their spouses who were asking to pay a little bit more every week to make this plan work, I think that's an added benefit that the town could easily handle.
Well, and it still keeps us well below the health trust budget.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if it were, I definitely think that that's something we should think about.
Yeah.
It's pretty minimal,
Yeah.
$20 or $40 a month to have something.
It's like $1 an employee
I
Yeah.
know.
per month.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like an obvious choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I just want to see if there's any comments. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay, let me see here. So Becky says life insurance through an employer is only paid if the employee dies while employed. Once the employee leaves the plan, premiums has to be picked up by the employee to keep. So this is a group rate, so it's just one payment for the 11 employees
And probably while you're employed.
Yeah.
while you're employed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I got to read through it a little bit more, but it's right here if anybody's curious. So unless you want me to do any sort of more research or shopping around, all of these things kind of come to a close with getting employees onboarded and
Right.
in the next month. So
I think you put a lot of work into it, and the choice seems pretty obvious.
Yep.
You should go with the Baldwin Group.
okay.
Motion?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
I was gonna get you on that, but
You can have it.
now you said it, it's on camera.
And
Sit myself.
tricorder.
Okay.
Any discussion on that? As far as the life insurance, are we gonna kind of table that until there's more, or do we have a decision on that?
I mean, $20 for all the employees seems simple. Even $20 per, it'd be worth it.
Would we want to do the 20 or the $40 per month and double it? What is
20.
What do you think? 20. Okay. something. I agree. That's part of the
It'll
motion
cover all
too.
your funeral expenses.
You
Yeah.
wanna reword your motion?
Revised motion to add life insurance, $20 for town employees.
Second.
Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Premise, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that work.
Thank you so much. Becky says it costs about $15,000 for a basic funeral. $40 would be better.
Well,
Maybe next year.
When we
We'll
get the
look at it again
rest,
next
yeah,
year.
when we get the rest of the board here, we can.
Everything's gone up, I guess.
You can always change.
Even dying costs more.
I
Yeah.
know. Thank you, Becky. I guess I can also, well, I can bring those numbers to the board again next week and see if there's anything, we can change anything next week if you guys
Yeah.
think about it and
Mhm.
do something different. Okay.
Okay,
That's all I got right now.
that's enough.
That's it, right?
Moving on to select board update with Richard.
Update from the Energy Committee. If you recall, we authorized 2 EV charging stations in the parking lot behind this building, and the Energy Committee was to seek private funding. Funding was not obtained from the Tamworth Foundation. They were rejected. So the Energy Committee will pursue other funding. Right now there's a December deadline for a T-Mobile community grant program, so they'll go there and they'll report back if they have any success.
That was T-Mobile.
Yes. I got an email today from New Hampshire Department of Business and Economic Affairs. They have a floodplain program in the state. I think it's one whole person that provides assistance to all cities and towns on their implementing the FEMA and the firm maps and all that. They have a couple of training opportunities coming up November and December for local officials, select board, planning board, building inspectors, whoever. So it's Zoom training. I forwarded it to the planning board. If anybody's interested, it's sort of a basic overview of how the floodplain regulation happens in New Hampshire. So if anybody's interested, talk to me. Lastly, Emily's had some conversations with the Tamworth Foundation recently on the grant that the Tamworth Foundation provided to the town for the transfer station improvements in 2022, was it? I think? So to get them up to speed, because it's a long time ago. And I think there's a lot of people who don't come to these very exciting meetings every week or so who are maybe not up to speed on the status of the transfer station improvements. So it'll be a chance for them to understand where we're going so that we can still access their funds. That $100,000 was transferred to the town in 2022 or 23, but we haven't tapped into it yet. But if we get to the point where we're going to accept bids on a building and equipment, that's when those funds will be needed. So we started the process to move the funds from the trust funds into the operating budget, and that triggered some discussions. So it'll be a chance for them, being the Tamworth Foundation, to understand where we're at and how the program's a little different than what was discussed at town meeting, but not a lot. It's the same components. It's just that the building isn't where we thought it might be initially, and the bathroom is attached to the existing building, not in some new building, but all the same components are still there. I think that's all I have.
And I just, can I touch on that real quick? So that warrant article was a special warrant article, which was, if you remember, it was a multi-year warrant article that you guys did a special encumbrance for an additional year, which means the intent of the warrant article extended for an entire year. Now what we're talking about is everything getting under contract and encumbering the funds, right, is kind of like the last step, because it's unlikely that anything will be built before the end of this year. So my biggest question for the Tamworth Foundation and for the trustees of the trust funds is, do we request those funds to be released before the end of the year to encumber them, or do we request for them in 2026? And the attorney and our auditors both basically said it doesn't matter either way. So it's likely that we'll keep spending from our operating budget, tagging everything to our line that is dedicated to transfer station improvements, and then request reimbursement, just like we do with any other capital reserve, at the end of the year, or at the completion of the project, so.
And I guess one thing we'd have to think about is, let's say we don't end up building a building and we don't accept any bids. It might be appropriate for us to give the Tamworth Foundation their $100,000 back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hope that's not gonna happen, because I'm assuming the project's gonna be just great and under budget.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Is that it?
That's it.
I have been, working with, LRPC to talk about what it might look like, to, contract with them to help guide the planning board through the first chunk of master plan work on the housing chapter. So tomorrow night, at the planning board meeting, we're gonna talk about the housing chapter and the planning board's goals for taking that chapter first, because it seems really important and timely, come up in a lot of different conversations with the public. And then see how we wanna tackle it and how LRPC might be useful. In the 2008, all I can think of was renovation. What's the word? When you redo the drafting?
Revision.
Revision, thank you. The 2008 revision, LRPC was contracted to kind of help provide a structure for the work, and then checked in at a couple of different times. Like they'll do any kind of consulting, or they'll do the whole thing for you, depending on how much you want to spend. We're not that town, so we're just kind of going back and forth to see what it might look like to have them engaged in helping us kind of wrap our heads around what's the best way to get community feedback and do a community needs assessment. It's the best way to, what are other towns doing right now? There used to be a thing called a HOP grant, which I don't remember what it stands for at this point, but it was grant funding for communities to do just this, like really dig into making housing available and affordable. But unfortunately, those grants are no longer. So, LRPC, housing, that's where I'm at.
Not much of an update from me. I won't be here the 4th, 11th, or the 18th. I don't know what we'll have for meetings those 3 weeks, but I won't be here probably. Maybe the 11th over Zoom, but the 4th and the 18th I definitely won't be here.
Okay.
That time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm waiting on the DRH should be getting back to me. I've called today, I've emailed, but they have everything they need from us and for tax rate
Set the
setting.
rate, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm waiting on them, so that needs to happen. Like
Yeah.
next week or the week after, because our second issue tax bills need to go out with plenty of time for folks to pay it by the end of the year, so.
Okay.
Stay tuned
Okay.
for that. I hope you don't miss it, but if you do, oh well.
Any public input?
Since I'm the only one here. Yeah. Since when Interlocal Trust went under, a receiver was chosen by the state, and the county had to spend money to keep the the benefits going,
Right.
paid for. Did Tamworth have to pay anything?
No, we weren't part of the interlocal trust.
Oh, you didn't have Interlocal Trust.
No.
So which one failed for you?
It's this.
It's school care, and I don't know that they failed. It was more like somebody in the public, if I've got this wrong, correct me, but from what I understood, they had to, they had more claims than their pool could handle, so
They went below
had
their
to-
safety margin.
Yeah, so they had to assess everybody's claim report and basically bill them. And our school district had school care. So it looked like, in the report that I read in the article, it was 159,000.
Yeah, Salem was like 2 million or something.
Yeah.
Emily,
Yeah.
Emily, it was only 159,000 for the school. They still have to calculate the 22,000 for the SAU office.
Oh, right, yep, I didn't, yeah, the SAU as well.
But they are taking it, they were allowed by DRA to open up last year's books to take that money out of their quote, what they call their undesignated fund balance,
The school
and
was?
pay that. Yes, so the return to the taxpayer wouldn't have been as much this year.
Okay. Well,
And for Ed's sake, Governor Wentworth got charged 1.6 million because the claims over exceeded what they haven't gone into receivership yet. They're hoping to collect enough to make the claims payment. If not, they'll probably end up like interlocal trust.
right.
Okay, the state has an insurance commission, like any other consumer protection board.
Right.
Does anybody have any idea why the state didn't make sure that these trusts had some type of backup reassurance if something like this happened? I mean, this sounds like a statewide issue.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing it's school care, but interlocal trust? And then what else went under
Who
the
knows
state?
what else might be
Who's the
next?
oversight of this? I find
May I
that,
say something again?
that's Becky Mason on Zoom.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just wanted to inform the select board as well that when we're doing budget this year, we're really gonna have to stop and look at it because all the Medicare Advantage programs went out of the state of New Hampshire. So anyone who had a Medicare Advantage program, if they went out of Carroll County, whoever had a Medicare Advantage program in Carroll County is now going to be facing $400 to $500 worth of supplemental insurance, plus a Part D premium that they were not paying before because they had Medicare Advantage. I did contact our state insurance commission and their answer was, well, we can give you a broker number to contact to see who might be able to help you. Co-ops in Carroll County have lost all their insurance companies. In Carroll County, the only provider there is for Part Plan D is 3 providers, and they are starting their plans at $100 a month for people to buy Part D coverage. So there's a lot of people scrambling. When I finally got hold of a company for a supplemental insurance policy for my father, he told me I was the 150th person he talked to from Carroll County.
Shocking, the 2 poorest counties in the state.
I don't
So
know.
the insurance commission isn't pulling much when it comes to any kind of insurance for the state.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there is fraud, but it seems pretty strange that no one saw this coming.
Yeah.
I mean, when you overrun your budget, you're aware by looking at the financial system that you're doing that. How did no audits or no oversight occur by the state or the industry that this was gonna happen? They should have knew this was gonna happen way ahead of time.
Well, we kind of did see this coming down the line with that, Becky, was it Senate Bill, do you remember what I'm talking about, 267? Was that one or 297? Where
Yeah,
it was
something like that.
the state basically saying if you are one of the large risk pools in the state that you need to keep your contingency fund within this amount, and if you dip below it, you need an assessor to go in and assess which town or which member is responsible for which claim, so that not everybody is just sharing the whole pie. You're only responsible for your portion of the claims. And the health trust basically said, if you do that, we're taking our ball and leaving and dissolving. And then it ended up not passing in June. So here we are. I think the state was trying to implement some sort of safety net for this, but it got voted down.
Okay.
So
That's,
The other issue is that you have such a younger population now dealing with illnesses that were never dealt with before that are highly expensive. If you look at the numbers in the state of New Hampshire alone, the diagnoses of cancer that are cropping up, all kinds of cancer, and those 50 and below are unbelievable versus 5 years ago. And hospitals do not bill in a timely fashion. They're billing 3 to 4 months out, so when you thought you had a convenient leverage there because you had enough in your pool. All of a sudden you get hit with $500,000 worth of claims. It drains down very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
I just have one other thing to inform the board because nobody went to the last school board meeting. Just so you know, at present time, the school budget is up by $458,000 with no teachers' contract negotiations yet. They're looking at probably, the board has directed the SAU and the school administration team to try and come in at a flat budget, but it could be edging its way to 10 million.
What's causing the bump, Becky?
Wants versus needs.
Well,
And yes, they've got their hat back in there, but there's a lot of cost in there. They're getting hit hard with special ed all of a sudden, but their insurance, they're looking around now because their insurance through school care, they said it could go up anywhere between 9 and 18%, so they budgeted at 16%. So, a lot. But there's only 155 kids and we're paying almost 10 mil.
Any other public input?
Yes, in all the other towns that I cover, the selectmen have just indemnified their employees, and I was wondering, you usually do that, but I have not heard you do that recently. So if you haven't done it, I'd look into it, make sure that it gets done. And also, lastly,
yeah.
any hardware that the police is gonna use, i.e. laptops, cameras, etc., if gotten by a federal grant, has to fall under the prohibited, it can't fall under the prohibited equipment from China. So make sure that people aren't going out to Amazon and getting, inexpensive laptop computers using the federal money.
Yeah.
And since he also works with the sheriff's office, there is money that is connected to the town from the county. So I would just be aware of your equipment. Thank you. That's it.
Any other public input? Hearing no other public input, we're moving on to the signature file. I make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes dated October 7th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
Chris, yes.
Robert, yes. We need a correction.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
Oh, I misspoke. Apparently, we did not seal the minutes last week. But there was no sealing. We didn't take a vote to seal minutes. So.
And the minutes reflect that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the select board non-public meeting minutes dated October 7th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
Chris, yes.
Roberts, yes. Did we vote on the first motion?
No. Let's consider that vote both of them, because I don't think we voted on the
Okay.
first one.
I make a motion to approve the timber yield tax levy for map 414, lot 96 for $1,398.54, as well as map 421, lot 1 and lot 2 for $987.70, as well as map 415, lots 50, 51, and 52 for $1,368.11.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
Chris, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the intent to cut for map 202, lot 16, access road, Tamworth Road. Roll
Second.
call vote.
Do you say yes?
Chris, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve all veterans tax credit for map 216, lot 48.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
Chris, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $457,748.17. The school payment is $300,000, library $58,759, ambulance $17,371, TCNA $18,750. Roll call vote.
you say yes?
Dennis, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. Anything else?
I forgot to update you that tonight was also the annual ambulance contract meeting, which unfortunately I couldn't go to, but I got the notes ahead of time. I think Matt's going. Our rate it is increasing by like $500, but it's $236,000 for the ambulance contract for the next year. So I'll update the budget with that. I just got it today, but yeah. So anyway, I think that's all.
Did you have something, Ed?
Yes. I think your chief of police can calculate this pretty good. I never hear, when you talk about the counselor, I never hear savings, money savings. And I'm sure he can calculate how much money he has spent doing the civil part of his job.
Yeah.
And the counseling, and if he's not a certified LADIC or a certified counselor himself, I don't know if he had gotten something like that. He needs to hand that off to somebody else, because he really shouldn't be doing that. I mean, that's like, hiring a doctor to do something, to do plumbing in your house. It's the same thing. It's more cost effective to have somebody, and it doesn't have to be specifically hired by the town. I mean, in my opinion, it should be somebody at the county that he can pull from. But that cost isn't a good idea.
Is there anything else? Motion to adjourn.
Oh, you were waiting for that.
I've been waiting for that for a while. The rust just banged off.
Okay.
All right. We never let Carl have it.
Good night.